like you do, just imagine how frustrating it would be if no one believed you and they told you that you lied. You see, maybe this concept is quite unusual for you to grasp, or it might be quite difficult for you to wrap your head around, but it is a reality with which people with schizophrenia live with every day. It causes difficulty in distinguishing between what is real and what is not, and expressing normal emotions in social situations. Often, what people with schizophrenia suffer from is visual and audio hallucinations or irrational feelings. A concept that I find quite fascinating is the fact that reality is quite subjective. There is no way of proving the fact that two people that experience the same thing experiences it the same way. The fact is, what you see, feel, and hear, and all those senses, is basically an interpretation of your brain of stimulus. So, in a sense, it's basically your brain telling you what to see and feel. And people with schizophrenia suffer from a condition where their brain creates these feelings and senses without external stimulus. And what I previously mentioned, symptoms range from visual and auditory hallucinations to irrational emotions and thoughts. Understanding schizophrenia. Well, what causes it? Unfortunately, there is no pinpointed reason or cause behind schizophrenia. There are different theories such as genetic inheritance. There is proof that there's 1 in 8 chance of a child inheriting schizophrenia from their parent, one parent. And how common is it? Contrary to common belief, schizophrenia is really rather common. There's 1 in 100 chance that anyone in the general population can actually develop schizophrenia in their lifetime. To put to perspective, there's maybe 100, 150 people in here, so it is quite likely that a couple of us could develop it. And I don't want to get you paranoid or anything, but it does put to perspective. Since to early adulthood, during a period of a lot of stress and anxiety. So this is generally maybe the first couple of years of university. And the first schizophrenic episode, usually, it varies. It could happen very abruptly, or it could happen over a gradual period of time. And how severe does it get? Just like every other mental illness, schizophrenia is a spectrum. So there are people who are aware of their illness, who can actually take care of themselves and with their medication, maybe even keep a job and start their own family. Of course, they have their good and bad days, but they are aware of it and they can control it in the best way they can. However, there are people on the other end of the spectrum that are in denial of their illness and need permanent caretakers to take care of them, their medication, etc. Can it be treated? Well, unfortunately, currently, there is no cure for schizophrenia, but the illness can be successfully treated and managed. The key is to have a strong support system in place and to get the right treatment with the medication and therapy. There is no black and white therapy or cure or treatment for schizophrenia. Everyone needs a specially tailored system, medication and dosage, which makes it quite difficult to treat schizophrenia, unfortunately, and the need for medication can in fact fluctuate during the year, seasons. It's quite sensitive. I don't know if these faces are familiar to any of you, but these are some of the famous people that did in fact suffer from schizophrenia. Tom Harrell, who was a famous jazz musician, or is. He's alive. Anyway, Edward Einstein, son of Albert Einstein, and Mary Todd Lincoln, who was the wife of Abraham Lincoln. Similarly, John Nash, a mathematician, if you've heard of The Beautiful Mind, his movie based on his struggle with schizophrenia in his life. It's beautiful, as pun intended. And it really does give a very clear-cut perception of what it is to suffer from schizophrenia. And Veronica Lake, beautiful actress, a couple of decades back, who did have some mental issues, unfortunately. And Syd Barrett, any Pink Floyd fans amongst us would probably know he suffered from schizophrenia or other mental illnesses as well. Our story. Well, this here is my uncle. He is one of the most significant people in my life, and I owe a lot to him. He loves me unconditionally, supports me, and I know he's always there for me. He also suffers from schizophrenia. I know he has his good and bad days, and I know it gets very difficult for him sometimes. And unfortunately, there is no real way that I can empathize with him. But I do my best to love him back and to show him that I care and support him. And that's all that really matters. There's only so much you can do to support these people, but what basically you can do and what matters the most is them knowing that you're there for them in your presence. The worst thing you can do is isolate someone with schizophrenia and deny them. They're already in their own reality, in their own bubble. They're already cut off from what we know to be reality. The best thing for them is to integrate them, however, and unconditionally accept them for who they are. They never lie, don't forget. What they see and feel is true for them. Well, how can you help? There's a stigma that we need to eradicate, and I'm trying to do my part at this moment here. Unfortunately, in our community, being associated with someone with a mental disorder, especially with such as paranoia and schizophrenia, is very taboo and has a very negative connotation. And I am here sort of calling out on the elephant in the room, but it's very true. I mean, I've seen people deny the fact that they're related to their own brothers and sisters because they suffer from mental illness. And here I am proudly declaring the fact that I love my uncle and he is very, very important to me. Love, listen, and support. Like I said before, the best thing you can do is show your presence and show that you support and love them, regardless of how they may be suffering or how you may not be able to understand what they're going through. And reach out to your local community. Well, me included, we know very little about how the mental illness facilities and associations work in our country. From what I do know, after the crisis, unfortunately, the funding behind mental illness facilities dwindled very rapidly, and people who need their medication to survive find it very difficult to even reach these medication that they need. And it does really upset me how many of the general community can empathize and sympathize with people with physical disabilities. I mean, you wouldn't keep someone that can't walk from having a wheelchair, but if someone needs their pills to basically go through the day, to not be harmful to themselves or to other people, they have so many more obstacles to have to pass before getting what they need. Not what they want, it's what they need. How do I get this play? I think, no? 1 second. And I must admit that I decided to make this presentation out of a very impulsive decision. Impulsive thought and just inspiration, really. But I am limited to one person's idea, and I do need your help to make something of it. An idea can't be implemented without there being an integration and involvement of more people. I would really appreciate it if you could contact me or meet me at first break at room 17, 17, keep that in mind, first break. And just brainstorm, really, because, as I said, schizophrenia is very, very common, and there may be some of you in this room that have a similar story to mine, or may just be interested in psychology, psychiatry, neurology. So this is a chance for you to make something of that interest of yours and make a difference in your community, as cliche as it sounds. I know it does sound very cliche, but these people do need our help, and I've witnessed it and observed it for long enough to know that it is unacceptable, and I need to do something, or else my conscience wouldn't let me live without the guilt. At least we'll try. So as I said, first break, room 17. And yeah, I think I've kept you for long enough. So that's what I wanted to say to you today. Thank you. And I must admit that I decided to make this presentation out of a very impulsive decision, impulsive thought, and just inspiration, really. But I am limited to one person's idea, and I do need your help to make something of it. An idea can't be implemented without there being an integration and involvement of more people. I would really appreciate it if you could contact me or meet me at first break at room 17. Room 17, 17, keep that in mind. First break. And just brainstorm, really, because, as I said, schizophrenia is very, very common, and there may be some of you in this room that have a similar story to mine, or may just be interested in psychology, psychiatry, neurology. So this is a chance for you to make something of that interest of yours and make a difference in your community, as cliche as it sounds. I know it does sound very cliche, but these people do need our help, and I've witnessed it and observed it for long enough to know that it is unacceptable, and I need to do something, or else my conscience wouldn't let me live without the guilt. At least we'll try. So as I said, first break, room 17. And yeah, I think I've kept you for long enough. So that's what I wanted to say to you today. Thank you.